Monday, June 13th. We awoke early, grabbed a shower and some food. We departed the dock at 7:10 a.m. for St. Catharines, Ontario, where Fish Tank was built in 1987. This time, she would be entering the Welland Canal, a part of the St. Lawrence Seaway. We arrived at 9 a.m. and tied up on our starboard side, facing north, while we waited for the signal to enter the first lock. We would wait an hour and 15 minutes while freighters were put in front of us. Commercial traffic has priority over pleasure craft. At 10:17, we entered Lock 1, where we approached the wall on our starboard side and then rafted onto other sailboats. We would travel all 8 locks, covering 29 miles in 11 hours. The first 6 locks would be extremely intense and physically demanding on us and the boat. Gotta document the situation, right? Figured that out? it to Lake Erie. Minimal damage. Looks like everything's fairly intact. Fenders are beaten and bruising, something like that. Side of the boat is pretty dirty. I don't think it's scratched, but we'll see. Needs a good washing on the sides. It's pretty dirty. Those locks didn't help us. We arrived at Sugarloaf Marina at 7:24 p.m. When arriving at Sugarloaf, we missed the marina manager from closing. We were not clear on where the slip was or how to obtain a key, so we docked on the main pier behind our canal buddies. We then ran into a kind gentleman on a bike while looking for a marina employee. He provided us with a gate code, and we were good for the evening. We ate dinner at the marina and called it a night. Got a little cold this evening. Tuesday, June 14th. Today was going to be a long day and our first big sail on open water. We would depart at 6:50 a.m. and head towards Erie, Pennsylvania. This would be a 67-mile leg of the adventure and take 11 and a half hours. We would arrive at 6:30 p.m., get some showers, eat some dinner at Smuggler's Wharf in the world's most uncomfortable bar stools. Pulling into this marina, we had to go under a pedestrian walkway and it seemed very close. Once docked, and after dinner, Tristan attempted to check the oil. We then spent the rest of the evening trying to get the dipstick back into the engine with no luck. We decided to try again in the morning. Wednesday, June 15th. I awoke early after referencing some technical documentation online, and I located the hole for the dipstick. Thank goodness. We departed at 7:38 a.m. for Geneva, Ohio. This would be a 50-mile leg of the adventure, taking 9.5 hours. We would arrive at Geneva State Park at 5:15 p.m. We would go directly to the fuel dock and check in and fill up the diesel tank. We would dock for the evening on the north wall on our starboard side. We would have some time to give Fish Tank a bath and clean her decks. This day had introduced black flies and there was a lot of carnage on the cockpit floor. Dinner would be on the boat because there was not an Uber and no one wanted to walk to town. Thursday, June 16th. We would get a late start this day. The morning started with breakfast at the marina store. We would also purchase a fly swatter. This area had a large population of Amish. By 9:52, we were headed out the channel to start our 48-mile leg to Cleveland. This would be a challenging leg of the adventure. The wind had been on our nose ever since we left Erie. Today we would head northwest for a few hours before heading west. After we had been under sail for some time, the wind started to pick up. It was blowing around 25 knots. Now we believed that we had the outhaul of the boom too tight, which was putting additional strain on the leach of the sail. We heard a loud boom and the entire luff came out of the strong track. This was a very dangerous situation, but Dad turned the boat into the wind and pulled back on the throttle. Tristan was grinding on the reefing lines and I was on the deck gathering the enormous sail. We could not let the sail get into the water. After we gathered the sail, we secured it and we would rest. So Geneva to Cleveland, about 45 miles-ish. We were motor sailing and we were sailing pretty close into the wind and everything was going really well. We were actually traveling at about 7 knots and then all of a sudden the mainsail came out of the track. So on the mast there's a track that runs from the top to bottom, and then on this edge of the sail there's cars that ride inside that track, and they all came out. And so that was pretty dangerous and pretty scary for about a half an hour, and Tristan and I and Dad were able to get it under control. Dad was at the helm and Tristan and I were out on deck. But we were able to use the downhaul reefing lines to pull the sail down, and then we were able to get the sail lashed down and in the sail bag on this boat. So to give you an idea about how big this sail is, the sail's about 30 feet long and about 50 feet tall. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe about 54 or 55 feet, I'm not exactly sure. But it's a big sail, and so the wind was blowing at about 22 knots when this happened, and yeah, fun times. The waves would begin getting larger as we approached Cleveland. We made the decision to reroute to the eastern entrance into Cleveland and duck behind the breakwall for some added protection. As we approached Bicentennial Park, we radioed for the pedestrian drawbridge to be raised. This was a rather unusual entrance into a marina. The marina was directly next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Once we had secured Fish Tank and inspected the damage a bit closer, we headed to dinner at the Mexican restaurant, where the service was great and just what we needed. After a dinner, it was off to bed.